God seen on camera, for real. In 2016, an amateur photographer took this photo in Kazakhstan. But a few days after taking it, she realized there was something strange about the corner of the photo. He uploaded it online, and many said it was the eye of God watching the city. And other people claimed that this was related to the Illuminati. What do you think? This couple saw something similar while they were driving, and they had to report it because they couldn't believe it. In the sky, you could see two giant eyes that seemed to be watching them. Do you think it was just a coincidence in the cloud formation, or is it something else? While he was working, this man's truck caught on fire, so he decided to pray to God and ask for rain so that the water would put out the fire. Surprisingly, just minutes after his request, it started raining and it extinguished the fire.
I asked for rain because I trust my God, and he sent the rain.
People who only had one job and did it horribly. They started looking at the wanted poster, which had a window, and while they were looking at it, the kitten they were looking for appeared. Here are two options. They found the kitten and forgot to take down the poster, or the cat hides too well inside the house. I think it's pretty obvious that this security camera is fake and not turned on. At the very least, they could have hidden the cable a bit better. This must be the most useless door in the world, and to top it off, they put a padlock on it as if it wasn't really easy to just go around the side. Since I'm not a builder, I'm not gonna give my opinion, but I think that space shouldn't be there. I should clarify that this is a completely finished construction. As soon as this person got home, they checked the expiration date on a product and it said to consume before Monday. But they didn't know which Monday it meant, this week or next. Videos with unexpected endings part 3. When I saw this video of a man over 70 years old swinging, I feared the worst. I thought he was going to fall or get tangled up, but no, the guy goes and does this. And then he just walks away like a boss. In a public restroom, a girl found this automatic paper dispenser with a sign that said, "Careful, I scream." I guess they put up that sign because so many people got scared. Some fishermen pulled their nets full of fish out of the water and started emptying them. When I first watched the video, I had no idea what would happen and didn't expect that outcome. They had caught a giant sea lion. This is an ice dispenser. Write in the comments what you think is going to come out of there before you see the end. I don't think anyone guessed it because it's really random. Is it a frog? The world's most dangerous children's toys. Part 4. This toy is called the Austin Magic Pistol and it came out in 1940. It was a toy gun that shot ping pong balls, but it used a chemical mixture that was extremely volatile and caused explosions. There were several cases reported of children who had suffered serious burns on their faces and arms, and the toy was taken off the market. Now, it is considered a real firearm in several states in the United States. This little toy oven called AC Bake allowed children to bake some treats, but they had to take it off the market because despite being just a simple toy, it reached very high temperatures. The brand received 250 reports of children whose hands or fingers got stuck in the oven entrance. Almost all of them had second and third degree burns. Even one girl had to have her finger amputated. Glitches in the matrix that have no explanation. When this girl uploaded this video, it immediately went viral. She says she was playing with her puppy and suddenly witnessed a glitch in reality. This dog showed up out of nowhere. I've watched the video in slow motion several times, but I still can't tell where it comes from. This happened in China, and the person who was recording it couldn't believe what he was seeing. It was raining, but only on top of this car. Everything else was completely dry. When I saw this, my mind was blown. During a free kick in the Rivers vs Boca match, they noticed a reality glitch. The player hits the ball and it looks like it goes straight for the crossbar, but no, the goalkeeper actually caught it. If you look closely, you can even see how the ball bounces off the post. Disturbing photos taken seconds before tragedy. Part 9. This man is a Brazilian priest. He attempted to set an unusual record by flying for over 19 hours with 600 helium balloons. He was never seen again. A car's camera recorded this, the exact moment before Transasia Flight 235 crashed into a river in Taiwan. A photographer managed to capture the exact moment when a leopard was about to attack this man. The man was its caretaker and was looking for the animal that had escaped from the zoo. A boy was running away from a bear and managed to climb a tree thinking he would be safe. Since he had no signal and couldn't call for help, the only thing he managed to do was take this photo. Seconds later, the bear climbed the tree and the tragedy happened. And about this photo, I don't need to say anything. You all know what happened after it was taken. The worst ways people have died. This man, named David Kasip, had an expired inspection sticker and tried to run from the police. Officer Lisa Markel, seeing the man escaping, shot him with the taser. The man was completely unarmed and had his hands visible, but people thought he had a weapon, so she shot him with her firearm. Johan Offner, a videomaker specialist, was filming a music video for a hip-hop group, and one of the actors was playing with the guns, which were supposed to be fake, but no, one of the shotguns was real and was loaded. Offner was shot and killed. People with incredible skills and talents? This man does something amazing. He acts as if there's an invisible floor. This is easy when you have something to lean on, but doing it like him is truly impressive. We've all tried to skip stones at some point, but this man is on another level. This guy really trusts his friend's skills, who by the way, is also recording while throwing the hammer. This is definitely a very peculiar way to make bracelets. The woman uses her tongue and teeth to weave the threads together. This girl found a way to never use bottle openers again. And this man folds clothes at the speed of light. Even when I pay close attention, I can't understand how he does it. The strangest ways people have lost their lives. Victoria McQuaig, 62-year-old, left her house for a walk and suddenly needed a bathroom. And she saw one of these portable toilets, so she went inside, but shortly after, the portable toilet literally exploded, ending the woman's life. It is believed that the explosion happened because the woman tried to light a lighter inside to see while she was using the toilet. 4 farmers from Indonesia were working like any normal day, harvesting corn, and soon it was time for their break. They began eating and talking. Underneath the structure where they stored 3 tons of corn, suddenly the hut collapsed and the 3 tons fell on top of them. The other workers tried to help as best they could, but unfortunately all 4 lost their lives, crushed by corn. 1 in a million moments in sports. During a race where it was raining heavily and because the track was very wet, Japanese rider Tetsuta Nagashima crashed. But he managed to make a spectacular save, landing on top of the bike and surfing on it across the asphalt. At first glance, this shot is easy for a professional golf player since the hole is very close, but incredibly, he missed it. But if we look closely, it wasn't his fault. It was because of a leaf that hit the ball and changed its direction a bit. And speaking of golf, what are the odds that a player hits the ball and it hits a bird in the air? Luckily, nothing serious happened to the animal. You know there are people who even fight for a ball at baseball games, but this girl didn't even have to move since the ball landed right in her cup. The craziest and strangest graves around the world. What you're seeing here, even though it looks like it, is neither a house nor a mansion, it's a cemetery. It's the Chinese cemetery in Manila, Philippines, and some of its graves can be worth more than $1 million. Yes, some even have 3 floors, air conditioning, and a kitchen. What you're seeing here in the middle of a road, even though it seems strange, is also a grave. It belongs to a woman and is in the road because this area was once a cemetery that was relocated. But the woman's relatives didn't want her grave to be moved, so it stayed there in the middle of the road. Some people have a unique sense of humor, even after they're gone. On a woman's tombstone, you can see this phrase that says, "If you can read this, it means you're standing on my tea." The worst ways in which animals have lost their lives? Part 6. Colby was a 2-year-old golden retriever. Allison Marks, the owner, left him at a vet to get him shaved and bathed. After waiting a long time without anyone notifying her, she decided to call. And the employee who answered her told her she had to go to the vet quickly, that they had bad news to give her. They forgot the dog in a drying cage for over 45 minutes at more than 105 degrees. When they remembered about him, it was too late. He died, literally cooked alive. Wang Kai, a 5-year-old dachshund. After a long walk, he and his owner entered the elevator to go home. But at the last moment, the dog stepped out and its leash got caught in the elevator doors, resulting in the animal's death by strangulation. People who only had one job and did it horribly. These women were playing tug of war. It was the red team against the blue team, but as soon as the game started, the red team lost very quickly. And they realized they had an infiltrator on their team. I think this woman didn't know how the game worked. This jewelry store had a guard dog, and this is how it reacted during a robbery. Good thing it was just a drill, but I would recommend the owner to get another type of security because the dog doesn't look like it wants to help. This happened at a bank in Colombia. A customer became very aggressive with an employee. I don't understand why no one calls security. Oh wait, the security guard is right there and he's not doing anything at all. I can imagine the employee who did this telling his boss, "I've already done the job." Disturbing coincidences that surprise everyone. Mary Ashford and Barbara Forrest have a tragic but totally unbelievable coincidence. They shared the same birth date, but with a difference of 157 years. The crazy part is that both of them, at 20, went to a party with their friend at the same place in England. And both were raped and murdered, losing their lives on the same date. But the craziest thing of all is that the two men who committed the murder shared the same last name, Thornton. Also, in both cases, the defendant was acquitted. The coincidences are truly impressive. They were born on the same day, died on the same day in the same way, and moreover, the murderers shared the same last name. All this occurred over 150 years apart. If you don't want the same fate, don't play video games too long. These are the worst ways people have lost their lives. Chris Staniford, 20 years old. For him, it was completely normal to play video games for more than 12 hours a day. Until one day, he suffered the consequences. For being seated for extremely long periods of time, he suffered a deep vein thrombosis. A coroner said that a blood clot formed in Staniford's leg. The clot moved to his lungs, and this ended his life. Mark Robertson and Rupert Beamont, both 69 years old, took a helicopter trip to northern Russia to fish for salmon. As soon as they landed, and when the helicopter was about to take off again, it lost control and struck the two men and their guide with its blades. It was supposedly an accident, but the families of the deceased don't believe it. Hero animals that save people's lives. This boy was pushing his mother in a wheelchair when it got stuck right on the train tracks. The boy thought quickly and tied the dog to the wheelchair to see if he could pull her out of there. Thanks to the boy pushing from behind and the dog pulling from the front, they saved the woman as the train was about to arrive. People claim dogs have a sixth sense, and after witnessing this, I believe it. The dog pulled its owner to save her from being run over by a car that was out of control. A home security camera recorded how two men tried to rob another man, but the thieves didn't know that the man had two dogs that were going to protect him. A man wanted to hit his owner. Obviously, the dogs had to defend him. Unexplained matrix glitches. Part 2. The security camera of a house is recording what seems to be a family meal. Suddenly, one of the nearby dogs runs across the entire pool on top of the water. When the people who are there realize what has happened, they can't believe it. They're left speechless. During a live program, something very strange happened to this reporter's eyes. For a moment, they change color and then go back to normal. Can anyone explain this? The truck we see suddenly makes a sharp maneuver, apparently because a woman appeared out of nowhere. And the woman leaves the road so calmly, it looks as if she teleported right into the middle of the road. A girl recorded something very strange from her house window. You see a person's shadow on the wall, but no one is nearby. These two guys were exploring an abandoned water park when suddenly two dogs quickly approached them. At first, the guys were a bit scared, but the dogs didn't want to attack them. They wanted to lead them somewhere. They quickly followed the animals and found something shocking. One of the dogs was stuck in one of the pools at the water park and couldn't get out of there. So one of the guys had to get him out of there. Luckily, his friends went to find a human. Otherwise, he would have drowned. Look how happy the three of them look together again. A little squirrel quickly approached the family, and all it did was point at the water bottle the guy was holding in his hand. The boy understood that the little animal was asking him for water, so he let it drink from his bottle, and after a while drinking, it finished the whole bottle, and the squirrel just left. This girl greeted the police officer every day, but the day she didn't, he decided to go into her house, and what happened will leave you speechless. Clint Skate grew up with his mother and his two brothers, and they were a very poor family. They lived in a very tough neighborhood, and his mother ended up becoming an addict. So the girl was in charge of doing everything at home, and sometimes she even had to go to the store and steal food for her brothers. But one part of her day brought her joy, greeting her favorite police officer who always patrolled her street. For several months, they greeted each other every day and formed a bond. She saw him as the father figure she never had. But one day, everything changed. The police officer went to their usual meeting spot, but the girl wasn't there. She had never missed an encounter before. Worried, the officer entered the house. "I don't have time. The continuation should already be uploaded." This girl greeted the police officer every day, but the day she didn't, he decided to enter her house. And what happened next will leave you speechless. Part 2. The police officer had a feeling and knew something was wrong. When he entered the house, he found her on the floor, trembling and pale. He realized that the girl was very sick and quickly called an ambulance. The doctors diagnosed her with severe malnutrition. They say the police officer saved her life by finding her, as she wouldn't have survived another day without treatment. Over the years, she left the area but never forgot what he did. Although over 20 years had passed, she wanted to thank him in person, so she called him and he recognized her instantly. Both of them, very happy, reunited, and she was able to tell him how much her life had improved, and she also told him that she decided to become a police officer because of him. The 6th worst design fails in fashion. Just half an hour before Christmas dinner with his whole family, he realized that his Christmas sweater has a small problem. Or in this case, a big problem. Actually, a woman put on this shirt and everyone who looked at her was laughing, and she didn't understand why. But when she put on the jacket and looked in the mirror, she understood everything. If you're a fan of Minecraft and you have $5,500 to spare, this is the perfect dress for you. He bought these pants online that have several monuments from around the world, but I think they've put the Leaning Tower of Pisa in the worst possible spot. The same thing happened to this woman with these pants, except that instead of monuments, here they were hearts. In this promotional photo from a sports brand, everything seems fine until you turn your phone upside down. Parents with incredible reflexes who saved the day. Part 2. While he was at the gym, his son decided to get up to some mischief, and this happened. He was falling headfirst toward the ground, but the father, with superhero level reflexes, saved him. A similar event occurs here, but it's even more epic, because the father, seeing his daughter about to fall, jumps up, does an epic jump, and catches her in midair. This boy wanted to grab the ball that was floating in the pool, but instead he fell into the water. His father, who was watching him, didn't hesitate to run and jump over the fence like Superman so his son wouldn't drown. I believe becoming a father gives you superpowers. How is it possible that this man reacts so quickly when he sees his daughter falling and even catches her with one hand? I guess it must be some kind of sixth sense. Expectations versus reality in architecture, Part 2. This is the design that some architects made in 3D for a school in India. The truth is that it's very beautiful. It looks like a very futuristic building, but the reality was completely different. Where are the trees from before and the building's curves? This is the museum's original design in Oslo. Honestly, it looks like a pretty nice building, all covered in glass, and this is how it looks once it's built. To be honest, the shape is the same, but where is all that glass? This is the computer design of a house. As you can see, it's quite modern. I would like to live in something like this, but where I wouldn't like to live is how it actually looks. This is the finished project. It just needs paint. Sorry to those who made it, but it looks like it could fall apart anytime. Awesome inventions that should exist all over the world. Part 10. Whenever I see a dog tied up outside a store, I worry it could run away or be stolen. Luckily, this company in New York thought about that and created little dog houses and distributed them all over the city. The little houses are connected to an app where you leave a code after paying the rental fee. This way, your pet can't escape and no one can steal it. It also has a camera so you can watch your dog from the app. It has air conditioning and a quick cleaning system in case your pet does its business there. Have you ever walked into a public restroom and didn't know if it was free or occupied? Usually the lock systems don't work very well, so in these restrooms they installed sensors. If the light is green, it means it's free, and if it's red, it's occupied. The most dangerous children's toys in the world, Part 5. This remote-controlled toy airplane, called Sky Ranger, came out in 2007. And they had a small problem. They exploded. Also, to make the plane take off, you had to push it with both hands, so they usually exploded on children's heads. When reports started coming in of children being seriously injured because of the plane, obviously they quickly banned it. Also in 2007, Disney released this card game from the famous series Hannah Montana, and you might wonder, how can a card game be dangerous? The cards didn't explode or do anything strange. The thing is, they contained high levels of lead, and lead is highly toxic. It can cause serious health problems, especially for children who often play these games.